Good morning. If you want to see how we built this large storage cabinet for spools of thread, or actually for anything you want, it's got sliding doors, 10 storage sheds. If you want to see it, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Well, welcome to Memphis Monday 373. Today we got a kind of a request project for, hey, could you make me another one of those? Story is about 6 years ago, Memphis Monday 94 to be exact. We built a thread display case for a friend of mine, and well, she filled it up, and she said, well, could you make me another one? And I said, well, being flattered, I said, well, sure I will. Well, 6 years ago, I didn't have the same system of keeping records as I do now. I used to put all my plans and drawings on legal pads and just scraps of paper and on the pieces of plywood, and and then just didn't, in spiral notebooks and all that kind of stuff. So when I went back and tried to find the dimensions and all that stuff, couldn't find them, so I had to start over. So anyway, I don't know what I'm telling you all this for. Let's knock off that chit chat and get to work. I got all my plans and drawings in order in these notebooks here. This is year 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And these are all pretty complete. I have no records for year 1 because I didn't know how long I was going to be doing this. But in year 2, I decided to keep doing it, and so I started keeping records. And here's my year 2 notebook. Got some familiar projects in here. That's the gate or the fence project, and that's one of our stands we built. And drawings, and here's our outfeed table for the planer. But when I go back here, there's 92. It's 93. Oops, missing. This is 95. The armoire is 95. So I must have put the plans on, I might have put them on a piece of plywood or a bigger piece of paper or something, but they're not in here. So I basically had to redesign the whole thing. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I watched the video from Memphis Monday 94, and we're going to cover today the things we didn't cover then. And one of them was the planning for the project. So this is a sketch of what the project's going to look. It's going to have 10 platforms in here to store the thread spools on. And it's going to have sliding glass and dados around the edge. Here's a little planning sheet with notes to myself on the order to do things and how everything's put together. And this is my cut list, my sides, my top and bottom, the back, and then this is the joint plan here. Okay, so first thing, let's start working on the sides and the top and bottom. This thing is going to have oh, I don't know, it's gonna have it's filled with dados and rabbets and slots and grooves. And I'm gonna try to get the sides, top and bottom, out of this one sheet of red oak. It's about 11 1/4, and I'm going to try to cut it down the middle, and then cut everything to length. The first thing I need is a piece about 30 inches. Okay, the first piece of stock we'll cut out will be this piece right here. It's going to be, how wide is that going to be? It's going to be 4 3/4 inches wide. And it's going to have 2 dados and 1 rabbet. So let's cut us a piece 30 1/2 inches long. Now this total board here is 6 feet long, and our bottoms and tops will be, this is 30 1/2 inches, and then this side over here is 41 1/2 inches. How convenient. And it's convenient because that wasn't the original length of that 30 1/2 inch board. It was actually 34. But I had to reduce it down to 30 1/2 because I'd have too much waste on that 6-foot oak board. If I made this in 34, then I couldn't make the sides 41. So I had to change this measurement right here. So I got my length of 30 1/2. Now I'm going to cut my top and bottom to 4 3/4. Now the sides are going to have little dados to receive the shelves, and those dados, I want them to stop up here. So rather than cut them out by hand, cleaning them up with a chisel and etc., what I'm going to do is cut a 1-inch strip off the board here, then put the dados in, and then reattach the strip that I cut off. Let me show you. Okay, I cut these boards just as before, only now I'm going to cut them again. I got my fence set 1 inch, and I just cut off a 1-inch strip on this edge of the board. Okay, I think I about got my stacked dado head cutter set up. Now these are a true 1/4 inch, and they'll fit right in those grooves right there. I think I'll tighten them up a little bit. I got a spacer between my blades. I think I'm going to fix that and try it again. I took the spacer out, and now it's real tight. I don't know if, there's advantages both ways, but if any of these are oversized, they're not going to fit in there. Other than that, I like the setup, so I'm going to keep it. I'm going to have a total of 10 cubbies here. That's 9 shelves. And the dados for the shelves, I'm cutting both boards at the same time. I've got a line drawn. That's the reason this board had to be 41 and a half inches, so that I'd have room for the dados or the rabbets at the top, and then my 9 boards spaced exactly 4 inches apart. So I'll be cutting these dados at the same time. I got both boards on here. Now you can see why I needed to stop dados. This is going to be the exposed edge here. So I couldn't have the dado come through. And this is the easiest and fastest way to do it. I can just take this board and glue it back on. And Bob's your uncle. Well, I glued these up when they ate lunch. So I'll go ahead and, they've been glued up for a couple hours, so that's probably good enough. Now we're going to put a 3/16" dado, a double dado, on the edges to receive the glass all the way around on all 4 sides. And the 2 dados have to sit on this 1-inch strip here. So I'm going to make the first cut at 3/16, and then each of the 2 dados will be 3/16, and there'll be a 3/16" gap between them. Let's give that a try. Now if we mess this up, we'll be back to the drawing board. Okay, I got the first one in. Now what I've done is I've slid the fence over the width of that dado plus 3/16. So I should have a 3/16" gap between these 2 dados. Let's run the others through and see if we can come up with that double dado. The reason I'm showing all these dados and stuff is because on the Memphis Monday 94, where we built the other one, I started with the case pretty much already built, and we didn't do any of this. So we're filling in the blanks here. Okay, we're going to put a rabbet joint in these corners. That means we have to put a rabbet across here, and I already did a practice piece here. It'll look like this. And then this piece will fit in there like that. Now that rabbet has to be exactly 3/4 of an inch wide, and my stack dado head cutter is set at 3/4 of an inch, which means that my edge here has to come exactly on the edge here. So what I'm doing is I'm using this piece of scrap to make sure it comes out perfect. Let's see if that trick works. Here's a rabbit joint I was talking about. See, I can nail now from the underside here, and there won't be any fastener on the side. Okay, now what we need to do is put another rabbet on the back here that will receive the back. Here's the kind of material we're going to put in the back. So what we need is a rabbet that is 1/4 inch deep and at least 3/8 wide. So let's think about that. Now what I like to do when I put these rabbets, you notice I like to kind of keep it assembled here, so there's no mistake on where I put the dados, because you can get to doing something and not think about what you're doing and put the dado in the wrong place. And you know, they have to be in the right place. For example, you know, if I put the dado on the outside, that's not gonna work, because these dados have to be on the inside. So all I'm doing is making me some marks. So there's no question where the rabbets go. Of course, you always run a test piece, and this is what we're shooting for right here. 1/4 inch deep, 3/8 inch wide. Well, this is where we started the last video, with all these dados and rabbets already made, and the rabbet joints. So I'll put you on the time machine and bring you back when we do something new. Well, I put all those pieces together and I slid the shelves in. I don't know if I showed you the shelves. The shelves are made out of this 1/4 inch solid poplar. I got it rounded over on one edge. And this piece going up the center here, this is the brace that both keeps the shelves pushed forward and also keeps the shelves from sagging. They shouldn't sag, they're not going to have a lot of weight on them, but over time you never know. To make room for that center brace, I recessed the shelves 3/16 of an inch here, so that my center brace will be flush with the bottom of this rabbet here. And because the bottom will be attached in that rabbet. And then I'll also have a gluing surface. This brace has been attached with glue and small pins. And when we're going to put the back on right now, I'm going to put glue on this brace here, so it'll all be locked together. Okay, this is all the plywood I got. This is cheap Vietnamese plywood, because I couldn't get anything else. I'll show you this. I'll show you this plywood in a minute. Now, wherever you get your wood, they'll talk about China plywood or Vietnam plywood, or sometimes on the tag there, they'll just say foreign plywood. And the reason they're warning you is because they put a very thin veneer on the plywood, and it's not glued down very well either. And this is what happens when you try to saw it, if you're not real careful. But this thing will be screwed to the wall, so you won't see this back here. And a little takeaway here. Remember when we did those dados, we put these little marks on the wood. They sort of double purpose to kind of make sure we got the dados right, but also when we're gluing when we're stapling this thing down, the back down, we can avoid the dados. We don't put a staple into the dado. I'm using these tiny staples here. I don't know, they're about 1/2 inch or something. And I also put glue around in all the rabbets. Here's the Lexan. Actually, it's not, Lexan's a brand. This is just fiberglass. I cut the size. Let me show you how you get these in. On the other one of these I built, I put a trap door down here at the bottom to get the glass in and out, but I discovered you don't need to do that. All you have to do, actually, the lady that I'm making this for told me that you didn't need to fiddle with that trap door, because you can get the glass in just by flexing a little bit. So what you do is you flex it and put it in the grooves. Then it's going to be attached directly to the wall. And I put little holes here in the plexiglass, and the idea is that you then slide it open to access it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some stain on this thing. We'll take a look at it. I'll put some stain on it, a little bit of poly. What I'll do is go ahead and put the plexiglass in it, and we'll take a look at it. I guess she's about done. I guess the next few days I'll put some poly on it and all that. Let's take a look at it. It's going to be mounted on the wall. So there's our project. It's a little case for storing spools of thread, but it seems like it would be a pretty good cabinet for other memorabilia too. put that backer plate in there to keep the shells from sagging over time. Glass is held in double dados. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied. Well, that does it for Memphis Monday 373, I guess, our 8th year, our 9th week, I guess, of this year. We built a thread storage case. It's kind of based, we made some changes to it, but we made another thread storage case in Memphis Monday 94. And we made some improvements, and I think we might even made it a little bit bigger. But I think overall it went pretty smoothly. And so like, favorite, share, comment, all the stuff you do on the internet. But most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.